Matthew and Dave here from Miniwargaming.com, and we're bringing you another Dark Potential playtest session. This will be our second session on camera, and so I'll give the same warning that I gave for the first one. This is not going to be edited, or barely edited.
No, I don't want to edit. No.
Yeah, well, I mean, like we cut out the beginning and the end kind of thing.
Yeah, maybe chop off like
the 2 seconds. Yeah, and I throw in a logo usually.
Yeah.
But that's about it.
There's a lot of editing right there. I mean, it's too
I know
much.
that's more than I normally like to do. But anyway, and this is going to be long. So if you're not interested in watching the game unfold as we play test, then what do you think?
Well, I don't. I checked.
Okay.
That's why I was checking.
That's great. So you're going to be across the table from me. Anyways, check out the cool posters.
Woo!
Anyways. All right, so Dark Potential playtest. We're going to be doing starter sets plus, which means that we're basically added on an extra squad to each army. Xanthos versus Corporation. Dave will be playing the Corporation. Now, for those of you that are not really familiar with the Dark Potential rules, this will be a really good video because Dave is actually not very familiar with the Dark Potential rules yet. He'll become an expert very shortly.
On Corporation.
On Corporation, yeah.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to be teaching him the rules. And so we're going to be dealing with tactics, but also just looking through the main rules and see what things are ambiguous and what things still need to be fleshed out. Okay, let's get into it. Let's start looking at the board as well as the armies. So here's our setup. If you watched the last one, this is a similar setup to that, but I tried to do some things differently. For example, I put in these ruins. So you got cover in here, and you've got difficult terrain moving through the windows on both sides. We've got the bastions again. I thought they were a good representation of difficulty of getting up into higher terrain. And we've got some of these line of sight blocking. I've actually put some of the sandbags up top as well, so you can get cover when you're up there. So lots of cover, but still good firing lines. And if you get your squads into the right place, you can get lots of things into it. And so here's our two armies. Once again, using 40K and War Machine models. Really don't like doing that, but we don't have our miniatures completely made yet, so we have to. Soon. Very soon. So on the Xanthos side, we've got the starter box, which is the commander, a squad of 5 guys, and the assassin with his tokens. And then we threw in an extra squad of 4 guys to just make this a bigger army. This is a small army for Dark Potential. I would say what will typify a good Dark Potential game will be 3 or 4 squads of guys, and maybe 3 or 4, maybe 5 solos as well. On the Corporation side, we have the commander, sniper. This is a heavy weapon guy using a flame launcher, so it's a flame weapon that uses a small blast and actually stays in play and keeps burning after. And we got 2 squads of 5 guys. Now the starter box is the commander, sniper, this guy, and 4 guys. But to kind of try to even it out, because man for man, the Xanthos guys are stronger. I increased one of the squads to 5 and brought in another squad of 5 guys. And we've got our stats all lined up here. This is 0.1.4 alpha. Well, it sounds funny, but the numbers all mean something. And so bringing in a few new things here, we've increased how it's now difficult terrain to go up a cliff. So it costs 2 inches for every inch that you go up. And I brought that in as a suggestion from somebody else, and I do like it.
What are these, 2 inches?
They're usually 2 inches, yeah.
Right.
And like this is like 6 inches, so it'll cost you 12 inches to move up. But then there's anti-gravity mines that you can toss down that then allow you to go up twice as fast.
Anti-gravity mines.
You betcha. Pretty cool, eh?
That's why it's awesome.
Yeah. And we both have them. I just have more of them.
You just have more of them.
Because I'm Xanthos.
Okay.
Because I'm Xanthos.
You know, it's funny. It's like
I almost wanted to say, like, I'm Batman.
Yeah, I think you're
I'm Batman.
I'm Batman.
Why do you have more? Because I'm Batman. Right, okay. Yeah, I'm Batman. Anyways, so there we go. So let's get started. We got all our dice. I think we got all the equipment we need right here. So we'll roll a die to see who goes first. So whoever rolls higher gets to choose. And so you get to choose. You want first or second?
I'll go first.
Whoever goes first has to deploy first.
I'll go first.
All right. So you deploy within 12 inches of your side. Now coherency, just so you understand, the squads have to stay. You choose one guy to be the leader, and I've chosen this guy to be in there just so that he's visually distinct.
Okay.
And all the other guys have to be within command range of him. And your command range is the same as your leadership, which in the case of your troops is 6. So they all have to be within 6 inches of him. So you don't need to huddle them together like 40K, but sometimes you need to because you need them all to be able to see the enemy. So just remember though, they don't have to be that close together. And just to warn you, my main guy has a 4-inch blast weapon that's very powerful. So the 4-inch template there. So huddle your guys together and he will literally kill them all in one shot. It's a very strong weapon.
So cover and terrain and all that, I have no clue how it comes into play.
Well,
So-
think of it this way. Cover will increase your chances of not being hit. Basically, it increases your defense.
What about me shooting you?
If you're at the cover, then we don't count this cover. Basically, any cover that you're touching, you don't count against you,
Okay.
but it'll help you.
Right.
And so if I'm in cover over here, then I would get cover against you, and you'd get cover against me.
Right.
And the majority of the cover on the board is going to be a level 2 cover. And then things like being up here will be like a level 3 cover. Basically, a more fortified position is a level 3.
Okay.
Your basic, like being in a windowsill, like here, or being in a sandbag, is usually level 2. If you're partially obscured by a cliff, that's usually level 2. As for squads being in cover, it works like 40k, that at least half of them have to have the cover
Right.
in order to get the cover bonus.
Does one squad cover another?
Where right now we're not having intervening models do anything.
Okay.
So they don't cover, they don't get in the way. We might add that in. I know some people have been talking about it, wanting it. And I do agree that there should be some mechanic for that.
Just hasn't been developed yet.
Just hasn't been put in. So
Okay.
just right now, squads, but they do block line of sight.
Okay.
Line of sight does get blocked by them. Your own squad mates do not block
Right.
your own line of sight.
Right.
Other
Okay.
than that, your other guys do.
In deployment, what is my deployment zone? Is there a zone?
Right now, we have a very basic scenario, which is deploy within 12 inches of your table edge,
Okay.
which we're going to say is that side just for
Yeah.
ease of choice right now.
Yeah.
And the first person to die loses.
Okay.
Meaning
so like last
you're-
man standing type thing?
Yeah, exactly. It's a very simple scenario. Obviously, I'm not too worried about playtesting objective-based scenarios and all these other funky things yet, because those will be fun to do later on, but we need to get the base mechanics in.
Now, Corporation, these guys, I'm hoping that they're very shooty.
You're like a mid-ranged army.
Mid-range,
Yeah, like-
so I'm shooty and close combat.
Yes, like my guys are better at shooting than you, man for man.
Okay.
They have better weapons than you, man
Right.
for man.
I just have more guys.
But in close combat, my guys suck. My guys have higher armor than yours, but lower defense.
Okay.
So that's why I chose to use Space Marines and these War Machine guys, because the Space Marines are usually, they're typically slower but heavily armored. Now, Xanthos are in no means like Space Marines. They suck in close combat, and they're not going to be the Space Marine army.
Right.
I just chose to use these models to represent it.
Okay.
So think of them as a slightly higher armor, but slightly lower defense.
Okay.
And they
You
have.
want me to verbalize my strategy here?
You don't have to. You do whatever you want, whatever you feel like.
Well,
if you-
it's going to be pretty obvious, and so maybe I should, because...
Go for it. So deploy within 12 inches.
So from what you have said...
Oh, and your commander has a leadership of 9, and anybody within the command distance of the commander gets to use her leadership. So you don't need her to be here with all your squads, but your squads have a leadership of 6, and you do a lot of leadership roles in this game. So just to warn you, not to spread out too much.
Sniper.
Sniper has a high leadership on their own.
Distance. How far can they shoot?
Everything has an infinite range. The difference, you have a range amount right here. See how it says
Yep.
RN for range? That tells you how far is close distance. If you're within that distance, there's no modifier to your ranged attack. And if you're outside of that, then for every further amount that you are, you get -1. So for example, at 8 inches, if you're within 8 inches, there's a 0 modifier. If you're between 8 and 16, there's a -1. 16 to 24 is -2. 24 to 32.
Oh, I see.
So-
Whereas sniper rifle, 16, if
It's-
I'm within 16, there's no modifier.
And if you're without a 16, then you have to get further than 32 inches away before you get more than a -1 modifier.
Wow.
So the sniper is a good range.
Okay.
My guys, like just to give you an idea, yours are all range 8, mine are all range 10. So I have a little better range than you do,
Okay.
and slightly higher strength and slightly better range skills.
Flame launcher. That's this heavy guy, right?
Yeah, he fires the small template, and it stays in play for 1 round. And anything that enters or ends in it burns as well.
Okay.
So
So I'm going to place him here. And what's his movement? He's got...
Sniper?
Is 6. So if this counts as 12, so you can't even go up it.
no, you'll need an anti-gravity mine to get up it.
And each guy has one?
Nope. In your case, only your commander has one.
What if I'm within my commander's team?
Nope. Only the commander can use
Only
it.
he can do that.
Yeah. So but the nice thing is, you can activate him first, have him drop the anti-grav mine underneath your sniper,
Uh-huh.
and then the sniper can go up really fast.
Okay.
So think of it that way.
So activation's involved, like War Machine.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. There's not phases. Well, there are phases, but activation phase, you fully finish one model before moving on to the next.
These guys have various handguns. Oh, okay.
Yeah. I changed it just so everybody knows. Before it was all shotguns, and I got mixed reviews from that. Some people are like, yes, that's really realistic because shotguns are really easy to maintain. In a post-apocalyptic environment, that would make sense. But other people are like, shotguns make me think of first-person shooters where they're all really close-range weapons, even though in reality, shotguns could be good at range too. And so I decided to change it that they have various hand weapons. And so I know for right now we're doing the models, we're doing the concept art. The leader will have a rifle, and then there's going to be 2 squad mates made, one with a shotgun and one with a pistol. And so the stat line is just a kind of an average for all of those. So it gives them more like a, we found our weapons. Let's see what we can do with them.
Okay, so you had mentioned the anti-gravity pulse. What's it called?
Mine. It's a mine. A mine. Anyways.
All right, so my commander leaves it, activates, then leaves it, so my sniper can go up. Can the flamer also?
Basically, it's an AOE. It's an AOE that gets placed.
So 5 guys can be in it.
Anybody, and people can go onto it and then fly up if they want to.
So
it's an AOE that remains. It's an AOE that remains in play until the beginning of your next turn.
Okay.
So I could use it too.
What is the AOE?
It's a 3-inch AOE. It's these right here. See, I have these really handy dandy ones, A on one side and G on the other, because you can choose to make it a gravity mine or an anti-gravity mine. Gravity mines slow people down, and you don't want to use them too much because they are good against projectile weapons.
Okay.
Sorry, ballistic weapons, but you have ballistic weapons. I have energy weapons. So it won't really be useful against me.
Okay. Good to know. I'm done deploying.
All right, so you got a squad there, and then you got your 3 solos together.
Yeah.
Okay, pass over the camera.
Okay.
Okay, so on my end, I've got an assassin to put on. I have to secretly choose which one of these actually represents the assassin, just so you know.
Is that how it was? Stealthy, huh?
Yeah. Level 3 stealth. So there's 3 tokens, and they have to be within 9 inches of each other.
Oh, nice.
They have to remain there. So it represents the uncertainty of where the model actually is. Anyway.
I like that.
So deploy within 12 inches. I'll put number 1 right here.
So how do you determine? Do you choose, or is it random?
Choose. Right now, I would normally write it down, but you can just trust me that I'm not going to lie when I actually go to reveal them.
Yeah.
And whenever you activate a model, if they can see one of these tokens, you do a perception check to see if you reveal it or not.
Okay.
And so, you automatically do that passive perception check. And then if you fail that, you can actually use your action to do an active perception check, which is easier. So you can you can kind of forfeit your shooting or whatever to really look at that spot so somebody else can see it. So I'm going to put number 1 right there, number 2 right here, and then number 3 over here. So they have to be within 9 inches of each other.
Okay.
All right, and so that guy will be right there. Then we have our commander.
So that happens at the beginning of your turn.
What does?
When he's revealed.
I can reveal him whenever I want.
But it's probably advantageous to do that, right?
Yeah, I reveal him when he's about to attack somebody, usually.
Yeah.
There's no point to do it before that. You're not allowed to shoot at it until you've seen it.
Right.
And even once you've seen him, he has a very high defense to represent that he's still shimmering, and he's actually still cloaked. You just know where he is. Oh. All right. Good thing these are sturdy models.
Yeah. You think they're Paul's models?
They're not, actually.
Because they're being dropped?
Oh, I see. And the duck-faced one is the squad
Corvus?
leader.
Corvus helmet?
Yeah, he's the squad leader.
Beaky?
And then we got a squad of 4 guys over here. And the one without the helmet is the leader in this one. Because, if you're a leader, you don't wear a helmet.
That's right, because they don't want them to breathe.
That's right. And that's it. So one thing I forgot is to get tokens for our command points.
So you have 2 squads and then 1 guy.
That are what?
And I have 2 squads and then 3 guys.
Yeah, I have a squad of 5, a squad of 4. You've got 2 squads of 5. And you have an extra solo. And that's meant to balance it out because my squads are stronger than your squads.
Yeah, they must be much stronger.
Why?
I don't know. It's just
Well, they're slightly better at shooting, they have a slightly better range, and they have a higher strength in their weapon. So overall, they're better. But I'm not sure how balanced this will be. So far when we've played, like Dan and I have played, the games have been pretty close. So...
Have you guys played Xanthos? What was the last? I forget.
The last one we played, the last playtesting session was Xanthos First Corporation. It was a very similar army to this.
Okay.
I think slightly different number of squad mates. So here's our command points. So right away, 5 goes on your commander gets 5 and regenerates 2 per turn. And each squad will have 1. So give it to the squad leader, because they have to be near the squad leader. And then your solos each get 1 as well.
So you need more?
Yeah.
Solos each get 1. Now, are they called commanders or sergeants? What do you call them?
What?
In the squads.
The squad leaders?
Is that what they're called?
Yeah, they're called squad leaders.
Squad leaders?
It'll depend on the army.
Okay, the special names for
yeah,
depending
those
on...
might have some crazy name for it, and something like that.
Yeah.
Do you have? Do you need more of these?
Yes. I need 1, 2, 2 more.
Okay, so pass through the camera, and it's your first turn.
Do you have another couple?
Oh, you need more?
Yeah, 2 more.
Really?
Right? Because
1 on each of those.
Squad
leader,
leaders.
commander, and then 1 on each.
Yeah.
So there's 1 more. Right. Well, you can turn it off. I'm going to grab it. So we have corporation turn 1. So remember, ask questions. Don't assume things. I'll try to correct you if you do things wrong.
Absolutely.
Difficult terrain is really simple.
Okay.
For every inch of difficult terrain, it costs you 2 inches of your movement.
Okay.
That's it.
Is this difficult terrain?
Not inside the building. And I guess that's more like a question to figure out at the beginning of the game with your opponent. It's not so much a rules.
So what is difficult terrain then?
Well, difficult, and there's not really any on this board. Where you'll have difficult terrain is going through windows. So it'll cost you, but that's more a linear obstacle. Linear obstacles are basically terrain pieces that you can't stand on top of. To go over a linear obstacle, it costs you 2 inches.
Now, is that only the distance of the linear obstacle, or is that the full distance? Let's say I was here and I want to move 6.
You basically subtract an extra inch for going over the obstacle.
Okay. So
think
instead
of
of moving 6, I move 5.
Exactly.
As opposed to only 3.
Exactly.
All right.
Same thing with, we'll say the windows are linear obstacles as well.
Okay.
Hopping through them costs you an inch.
Okay. So things are activated according to order.
Yeah, whatever order you want.
All right.
So what are you going to do?
I will activate my commander.
Okay. So to use the anti-gravity mine, you have to forfeit either your movement or your action. In your activation, you have a movement and an action. You have to do your movement first, and your action can also be a movement.
Okay.
So you could
action could be an additional movement. Okay.
Yes, but there's no way to shoot then move. Basically, is what I'm saying.
So to do my mine, I can forfeit one of the 2.
Yep.
Well, it would have to be movement, right? Because
Nope.
I use my action.
You could move first and then forfeit your action to drop the grenades or to drop the mine somewhere else. That way you could be further away. Like let's say that your commander is there, but you wanted to place it all the way over here. Well, you could move towards that and then use your action to place it. So, but if you want to
reverse the order, because what if I want to place the mine, then move? So I move the.
You can do that, but you would be forfeiting your movement to place the mine, and then you would use your action to do a movement.
Which would mean I would still be able to move further.
Yeah, it's essentially the same thing.
Okay.
I'm just trying to get the wording right so that you understand what you're doing, rather than thinking that you're just forfeiting your action and then moving after that. You're not actually. You're forfeiting your movement, dropping the mine, and then using your action for a movement. It's an important thing to understand, because that's how the game functions.
Okay, so that's what I'm going to do then, so that I can move the commander further
Okay.
and actually utilize.
So you're going to drop the anti-grav mine.
Yep.
Okay, so you can place it anywhere completely within 6 inches and have it just stay there, or you can choose to place it anywhere within 12 inches and have it deviate. So it's basically, it's a difference of you dropping it or you throwing it.
Okay, then I'll just place it. I'm not going to throw it.
Okay.
So now, with the area, it affects that many models within that area, and how far do they move within the area?
Well, it's difficult terrain to move through it, but moving up, it's no longer. It basically doubles your movement going up.
Okay.
So instead of it costing 2 inches to move up an inch, it only costs 1 inch to move up an inch.
So these guys, according to this, should be able to just simply move.
Yeah.
Up there.
If you drop it in the right spot, then all 3 of them should have it.
So right there is fine, right?
Yeah, so you got to place it on the ground, underneath the models. So just be careful. Yeah, it's like that. That'll work fine, because then they're all touching it, so they'll all benefit from it.
Okay.
Okay, so now you have your action.
Yep, which I will use move.
So the movement is 12 inches in total. Sorry, the movement is only 6 inches in total. So you actually won't be able to get your commander up there this turn.
How come?
Because you require 7 inches to get up there. You need 6 inches to move up, and then 1 inch to get on. Or
So
1 inch to get
is
up.
it possible to get up there?
Not for your commander.
Like impossible.
Right. This turn.
But next turn, yes.
Yeah, because you can combine your movement and your action together as 2 movements.
What about the other guys?
The other guys will be fine. They just won't be able to shoot. Because they'll have to use their movement and their action to move up there. Does that make sense?
It does now.
Yeah. Yeah, you forfeit, like you say,